would like to introduce us?
Okay, this is our media project, and I think we're called Blue Whiskey Productions, so let's go with that. This shows some of the things that it involved at first. Like, we had to put our thinking caps on, be quite original, have different ideas, and that goes through the planning stages. That's the research, and that shows like the different YouTube clips that we had to go on to get a real understanding of horror conventions. Our preliminary task was quite useful because it gave us an idea of what was expected from us. It kind of introduced to us the specification that was involved and what we would have to do and our overall aim. And it kind of taught us that with our first one it wasn't that successful because we made it more film-based. So it was important within the second time that we did it that we focused on making a trailer and keeping a narrative arc.
I also think with the preliminary, like, one of the things that lacked in it was our ideas were too ambitious. We weren't realistic enough to actually think, will it work? Do we have enough time to make such a thing? And that's where we went wrong, really.
Saying that, we did learn a lot because we realised how successful things like using a mask was for our group because some of us lacked acting skills, and there was a lot of ideas that we took forward onto our main project.
It also sort of gave us a chance to experiment with the camera techniques and stuff, so use some of that stuff.
These were our roles during the second project. From the preliminary tasks, we kind of realised where our strengths and weaknesses were, and although we were going to work together, we decided for Josh to be the director and the editor. I was the co/creative director, Zoe was producer, Jake was the music and cameraman, and Patricia worked with aesthetics, so props and locations and anything that needed to be done.
Alright, so the main concern was we wanted to avoid conventions. I mean, we could have gone down two paths. We could have either done big blood, blood and guts movie or something like that, or we could just broken it up. So we wanted to avoid kind of slasher movies, really scary, jumpy images, stuff like that. We wanted to make it a bit more real, a bit more slow paced, and I think we achieved that in the final film. These two were...
We finished with convention. Go back to convention, sorry. I had one thing to say about conventions. We broke conventions in a way that Josh, being the protagonist, wasn't your typical, looks-wise. He's quite petite, which you could say is quite feminine. But characters such as Leatherface and Michael Myers, who also wear masks, are quite, masculine built and are quite tall. So that's where we broke a convention in a way.
There's also Donnie Darko, which is kind of similar. He's kind of similar built to Josh. It's kind of like an inspiration because we researched that trailer as well.
You're done?
Yeah.
Alright, so these were our original inspirations. We have the Blair Witch Project, which at the beginning we thought was a good idea because it's about a group of students who end up getting attacked in the woods. And it just seemed quite practical because we were a group of students doing a similar project, and we thought it would work quite well. I mean, it's got a low budget, it's just hand camera work, and it seemed like it would have been quite a good idea, but in reality it just didn't turn out like that.
It was more harder than we anticipated because we thought, because technically we don't have the technology needed to do a really good trailer, so we thought, if we keep it low budget and stick to something like Blair Witch, it might be more easier to replicate.
Yeah, so this was the other trailer we based ours on. This was the opening to the Martyrs trailer. What?
The knob.
Yeah, it was just that opening bit that I really liked, because I like the, if we have a look at that. I like the kind of like the long like shot, and it's quite low, and she's running towards the camera. But the thing I liked about it was the fact that she was perfectly in the centre the whole time, just kind of running towards us, and it was like the panic and the fear. And I think we liked that about it, the fact that she was running. So we used that in our trailer.
It's a really nicely composed
Can I
shot.
add
Yeah.
to it?
Yeah, can I add on to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the running scene, I don't know what to say. Yeah, it was an idea we kind of developed throughout our pre-production stage. As you can see in our trailer, we didn't use the exact same shot, we used a handheld shot. So it was coming, point of view shot, and it wasn't obviously a low angle shot. We also shot it in an alleyway, which was kind of different from this environment because it's long and narrow and it's on a wide road. And we thought if we use an alleyway, it's kind of like restricted in terms of where you can go, and it kind of brings about the sense of isolation which the victim felt in the trailer.
What I liked about this clip was the fact that you weren't sure what she was running away from or what she was running to or where she was running to. So that's why I like this shot, because it makes you want to know more about the story. And and to have it at the beginning is quite good. Like, it works for this trailer.
Right, so this touching the Blair Witch Project again. It was low budget, it had no blood and guts, lack of special effects, which was all good for us. It was based mainly on characters and their reactions, which is quite tough because obviously we're not that good actors, so we can't portray the fear that these people were. Handheld worked. It didn't really work for us because when we went to go film in the graveyard, we had a problem with the lighting, we had a problem with sound. It was quite difficult to get everything right. We didn't realise how much work.
It's not a controlled environment either.
Yeah. And also, we filmed at day and it didn't really come out right, so we tried to film it at night and it was just too dark, so it was just problem after problem. And it was a simple storyline, which is also why I liked it. It was just about, someone being haunted in the woods. Same thing. Yeah, so the Dead Island trailer we didn't come across until, I think it was halfway through the project.
Editing stage.
Yeah, and I just really liked it. I mean, obviously it's not a horror movie trailer, it's a horror game trailer. But it was really good. It was like slow paced, it was kind of horrific in places, but it was also very soft, and the music was great, and the style it had, it was just one long shot broken up into different sections and merged together. And I thought that was really good, because especially when I was editing, I could really look at this and look at the backwards effects, and I could look at how they broke it up, and I could look at the different effects, and I think it really helped. Anyone want to touch on that?
I think we also had inspirations because of the slow pace. I think it was on preliminary, was it Saw that we looked at?
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
And Saw, they both had like slow pace that we quite looked into because we thought that would work for our trailer, and then we could kind of increase the pace with the montage and things like that.
Good?
Yeah.
Right, what we learnt from research. Follow that.
I made a questionnaire which I handed out amongst our target audience, which is 18 to 24.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Yeah, I said even though it's not our direct age group, it's a more mature, it's like experienced audience, and because our genre was kind of it was kind of like psychological horror mixed with elements of surrealism, I thought we had to aim for that higher, more mature audience. The questionnaires had basic questions really, but it just gave us
Understanding of our audience and what they would like
and elements that we incorporated into our trailer, like things that they would like and things that they would want to see in a film trailer.
And also if like certain things worked, and I think because when you're working close to the horror trailer at all times, it's hard to really make a judgment on it, because obviously you're going to think it's quite good, but there's like little things that they might not understand. Like through our first editing, we found out that the narrative of the trailer wasn't quite clear, so then we needed to edit again and then move some shots around and put some more narrative within our actual sequence.
It's good to get different perspectives.
Yeah. Also, I think we were a bit close to the project in the editing stages, so obviously it's a lot more difficult to look at something if you're staring at it for hours. Like, I was in here, I don't know, like nearly every day last week, and it was just really stressful. But I think everybody kind of like helped out, and it just came together in the end. So yeah, this is the editing breakdown. This is just the opening shot, which we put in towards the end because we took out the graveyard shot and wanted to add something. So this is just shots of the storyboard and how it kind of like worked out. I quite like the shot of the dripping moving to the dripping into the red, because it kind of just picked up the pace, and then it has the dead body in the tub. But I quite like the opening shot because I think it kind of set a good tempo to the to the trailer.
I think what also went quite well within our group is because our planning was quite in depth, and then we knew what shots we wanted, the order that we wanted it in. It meant that whenever we needed to film, we could just refer to them, and it wasn't really anything off. So we knew what needed to be done, if anything could be done simultaneously, or if we needed some shots before the other, things like that. And it helped us prepare our crops and just little things.
Film to the opening, hanging. Yeah, so this was one of the scenes we were talking about where we didn't have a narrative arc, so we had to add other scenes. So this was the scene which was in between the opening, when I'm putting on the mask, and then moving on to the hanging scene. This was meant to link it to show that I'm one of the next victims, and then it goes straight to her being hung, the eye shot zooming out. So that was just one of the shots that we had to add. This is the opening shot. That's the Dead Island shot. I quite like the eye. So when we filmed the hanging shot, we had the same effect. Start from the eye, zoom out, quite a long shot. It's quite dark, you can't really see it, but that's the other shots with her feet being dragged and the hanging, the noose around the neck. We filmed that all forward, and then when we played it backwards, I think it had quite a good effect. Especially the last shot where the noose comes around her neck and then she's kind of freed and the sound kind of stops. I thought that was very good.
That's a sort of surreal effect to it as well.
Yeah.
I think that's another way that we kind of developed or broke conventions, and it made our trailer quite different.